Does it ever feel like you're a marketing professional just speaking into the void? But with LinkedIn ads, you can know you're reaching the right decision makers, a network of 130 million of them, in fact. You can even target buyers by job title, industry, company, seniority, skills, and did I say job title? See how you can avoid the void and reach the right buyers with LinkedIn ads. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a free $250 credit for the next one. Get started at linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
Finished training for the day? Time to fight post-workout fatigue with Core Power Protein Shakes. They're packed with 26 grams of high-quality protein to build muscle and electrolytes to help hydrate. The nutrition you need to help your body replenish, rebuild, and repair post-workout so you can power on to the next one. Champion your recovery with Core Power. Visit corepower.com to learn more.
This podcast is supported by FX's English teacher. Last year's critically acclaimed series returns to follow Evan, Gwen, and Marky as they vie for their students' divided attention. See why Cosmopolitan called its premiere season a masterclass of comedy, while Glamour raved it's the year's funniest and most heartwarming new comedy series. FX's English teacher, all new Thursdays on FX. All episodes now streaming on Hulu.
Eric, what's the best pickle?
You know what, Tom? Give me a classic dill pickle. I think it slaps. It's garlicky, it's herby, it's punchy, it's crunchy. It goes perfect with like sandwiches, which I love, burgers, a fried chicken. It's just like the superior pickle, dill pickle.
I'm gonna go with fried.
What? That's so Southern. That
Dude,
is so Southern boy in here.
Yo,
I was
fried
not ready for
pickles
that.
hit so hard. I love the tang, the sour. I can eat 1,000 of these, lightly breaded. Throw them in the fryer, like the dill pickles. Maze is coming in with the cornichon. I agree, cornichons are fire.
Cornichons are good.
I was introduced to the world of cornichons. La Sandwicherie in Miami. Miami Beach has this great sandwich shop that has cornichons on this dish with their like vinaigrette, amazing vinaigrette sauce that you got to get like by the gallon. And like the cornichons, I could eat like pop like 100 of those things, no problem. Dill pickle is undefeated. It is undefeated. But I'm gonna go a little crazy here and go with a fried pickle. Fried pickle splatter with a little dip or something like that. It's better than mozzarella sticks, better than calamari, any of those fried little things. Nothing beats a fried pickle.
Well, anything's better than mozzarella sticks, but fried pickles, I mean, it defeats the purpose of the purpose. Like you want something light, crunchy, tangy, not fried and battered and heavy, but I mean, to each his own.
This is Pack Your Knives. I'm Tom Haberstroh.
And I'm Eric Adjepong.
Eric, I am just coming back from New York City. I'm at my brother's house in Connecticut. We traded places this past week. You were in Charlotte. I was in New York City. You're a Bronx native. I come into your town. I go to I got my kids. It's spring break. They're 8 and 5. So like going to hit up all like the American Girl doll, F.A.O. Schwartz, all that stuff. But I did get to go to Time and Tide, which is Danny Garcia's restaurant that he opened up under Kent Hospitality. It's over there in the Flatiron District, right by the Flatiron Building, Madison Square Park, kind of across the street from Italy. It was great, dude. We had a great time. Danny was not in. He was in California doing an event, but the kids loved it. Eric, have you eaten there before?
I have eaten at Time and Tide. Danny Garcia's restaurant in New York City, man, it's exactly as you mentioned, and it's as advertised. Great spot, seafood focused, swanky. You could tell that they put a lot of time in there. Chef Jeremy Grant was, one of the inspirations there. But Danny, man, he and his team, they crush it. The food is impeccable. So much technique. And that goldfish, man, that's one thing I definitely think about for sure. That goldfish is delicious.
You know what time it is. I got 2 girls, young girls, and I'm like, man, I want to go to Danny's restaurant, but I don't know if it's very kid friendly or family friendly. And I go to the website And what's the first thing they show? It's a giant goldfish. And I'm like, done, we're going. So I tell my wife, I'm like, all right, we're going to get a 5:30 reservation, and we're going to go to Danny Garcia's restaurant. And of course, it's like a New York steakhouse, but think seafood, and kind of reinventing some of these dishes. It was awesome. I had this like squid cacio e pepe, which was the biggest hit of the night. The tuna collar. It's this giant, massive tuna collar that he serves with like these hard shells, like a classic I'm going to get it wrong. It's like a conch shell. No, it's not a conch shell, but they're like those flat kind of scoopy, spoony shells. And you're supposed to scoop out the tuna meat, which has a gochujang like seasoning on it. It was delicious. And then you put it in these lettuce wraps, and then and it's supposed to be messy. And on the menu, there's a little note from there's a little note here at the front, and I'm going to pull it up here because it's a great line from the late great his mentor, Danny Garcia's mentor. Let's pull it up here. It is, I want people to roll their sleeves up, tear things, share, and fight over food. Breaking bread is something that is really important to me. And so that's kind of one of the cool things about the restaurant. It's upscale, but also they bring crayons for the girls at the table, and they can draw all over the menu. There's a giant goldfish. It's playful. The music, the playlist was very like 90s and 2000s hip hop and R&B. It was a super fun atmosphere. Our server, Alex, was incredible. Really just the hospitality was top notch. I had this like this cocktail which was outrageous. It was Hojicha Boulevardier. I'm going to mispronounce that, but it's this Japanese kind of bitter that is like fantastic. Adds this nuttiness and smokiness to it. Blew my mind. Yeah. The restaurant was great. I give it a 5-star. You gotta hit it up.
Yeah, 5-star for sure. Danny and his team again, man, did a fantastic job. I think I definitely had that hamachi collar. You got to go with that goldfish, man. And Chef James Kent, his mentor, rest in peace to a New York legend. When you talk about like the sort of hospitality feel and that kinetic energy of sort of breaking bread and sharing things and kind of passing it along the table alongside that awesome playlist, like you mentioned, man, it definitely is his spirit in the restaurant. And Danny sort of takes that baton and that torch and runs as far as he can with it. Yeah, it's a massive space. It's a beautiful space, though, man. I think funny enough, I think we might have had the same server as well. Yeah, man, it was a great time. I say same thing, 5 out of 5. Awesome experience. Definitely.
What's
one of the
cool
best.
is they have like a almost like this backdrop that's supposed to mimic the time of the sunset. So like there's like a screen with like kind of this perforated grid in front of it, and it matches the sunset. So it's on like a time, and so it'll be pink and purple at 7 o'clock or whatever it is. And it was a really nice touch. Had a great experience. It's tough when you got little girls, little kids at a restaurant, something like that. You never really know if you're going to feel welcome or if you're just being a real burden on the staff. They couldn't have been nicer. So time and tide, it's Danny Garcia's restaurant. And what a time for me to go eat at his restaurant, Eric.
Perfect timing. The tide was definitely waving, in your favor as well, man. It was seeing Danny, come through. I always love when Top Chef brings like the previous winners, or just even, Sarah Bradley last week, bringing in, famed and beloved contestants that of the previous seasons. And Danny came through looking very clean, I gotta say, man. I love the fit, love the hat, very, very sharp. Very astute sort of judging points as well, man. They definitely like leaned on him to a lot. And then it's cool because you kind of see yourself as a contestant currently in the future, right? You just had somebody who just won the previous season. You're in the trenches right now. You can see him sort of like coming out and giving you support. So it's definitely a lot of sort of boost in morale, especially sort of midway into the season, so to speak. Vinny was really excited to see him, and so were the rest of the other chefs.
I got to tell you, this was a heart-wrenching episode for me because I have Katiana on my team. I have Shawai on my team. I lost Kat and Corwin last week. They go to Last Chance Kitchen. Katiana is joining them at Last Chance Kitchen. There was a lot of crazy stuff that happened in this episode. We had a fire in the kitchen where Massimo, we'll hit that. But there was this drama with Henry and Shawai, this friendly fire where Shawai throws out his like half of his dish, his like actual pickle part of his dish gone. Yikes. And they're on the same team. Yikes. So this was crazy. And that Henry's on your squad. But I think we know who is the favorite of favorites. Like we might have said it last time. Katiana is still like amazing. But like now that she's out of the game, Tristen is delivering on a Buddha low level right now where it's just like blowing the minds of the chefs, the judges. We had 2 dishes this week, Eric, that Tom Colicchio said was maybe the 2 best dishes he's ever had. And I'm guessing the qualifier is on Top Chef. What were your just big takeaway, the performances by Tristen and César with their pickle dishes? Because whoa, that's high praise.
Whoa. I mean, high is the praise when you have the head judge, Tom Colicchio, who's tasted everything. I mean, his restaurant is called Craft for a reason. He understands flavor. He understands technique. It's sort of like, if you know, a basketball reference, the double bang, the Mike Breen double bang. When you can get, Tom saying that's the best thing I've ever had in my life 2 times. I mean, that's a very rare moment. Maybe we can get someone to check in on how often that's ever happened.
Right.
But man, yeah, that to me, the food itself looked really delicious on screen. And then as you hear the chefs, both Tristen and César sort of go into the mechanics and the creativity behind it, just absolutely mind blowing to me. It reminded me of Top Chef season 6. It reminded me of watching Top Chef when I was in college. It reminded me of being inspired by the creativity and the just the sheer sort of like, you got to have a little bit of just like gall, a little bit of just like ballsiness to kind of pull some dishes off like that, right? And you're not necessarily thinking conventional. You're not thinking of textbook. You're just thinking flavor, the best technique, and see what sticks. And we saw that both happen with Tristen and César's dish. 2 incredible things. I literally left inspired, man. I wanted to run a mile. I wanted to run services right after that. Like I love that sort of like, push for, pushing the envelope, so to speak. Yeah. And we really saw both chefs go for it. I mean, incredible food throughout. I love pickles. So I really enjoyed sort of the play. And I thought this episode was fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, it was, we'll talk about the team kind of aspect of this. The obiata, it's, I guess, a stew, a Yoruba cuisine stew or sauce. I've never had that before, but Tristen busted that out for his steak tartare with green harissa, cream, lime-cured corn. And this dude, correct me if I'm wrong, he had immunity, right? So like, he and Bailey had immunity, and he just busted out one of the best dishes ever on Top Chef, which is like, what? Like how? Yeah. Like how?
No, I commend him, man, which lets me know that he has a ton of more in his bag that he can pull out, midway and hopefully later on in the season, now being on my team, hopefully, in the last bits of the season as well as he tries to make Top Chef. But yeah, the obiata, man, it's like an African mother sauce, man. It's the base for so many delicious West African dishes. Jollof rice being, one of the famed ones, sort of the base before you put the rice in there and then you kind of cook it together and get the.
I've had obiata. I just didn't know that it was obiata.
Yeah, exactly that. So you've definitely had it before. To pair that with a tartare and using, it's funny, taking these ingredients and just being very reimaginative. I think Kirsten had called that out as well. There's peppers, there's onions, there's ginger, all that you would sort of see in the sort of space, the Mexican sort of like Rolodex of ingredients, so to speak. But just taking a step back, like a 30,000 foot view, and how else can I reinterpret these ingredients? And he was the only one to sort of like think outside the conventional or the sort of low hanging fruit of Mexican, because we're in Chipotle, we're talking about Chipotle. Yeah. So Mexican is clearly the direction that I think, most of all of the chefs went into. And Tristen, again, sort of this, cerebral. That's the best way I can think of it. That's the best way I can describe it. His thinking, and it's definitely thought driven, and then technique after, which I think is fantastic. He really puts a lot of time into his dishes, and we've noticed that before. So that tartare with that green harissa, man, it sounded amazing. And yeah, using all those ingredients, I thought was fantastic.
Yeah, so I mixed it up. I was describing his quick fire, and then the elimination challenge. He had the full sour category, the charred mackerel, celery root, vichyssoise, cucumber, and celery pickle, Julie, and burnt pickles. I mean, just every dish he puts out, I'm like, this is crazy imaginative, crazy thoughtful, and technique. And he's like an encyclopedia in the same way that Buddha was, where it was like, he's got this like, this in sports, you have what they call the clutch gene, right? It's this like ephemeral thing, intangible. I don't know if it actually exists. The math, the studies have shown like maybe there's such thing that you're more likely to come up in big moments by the way you're not necessarily a gene, but just how your brain processes information, that like you can be steely in those moments. Same thing with like Buddha and Melissa King and Tristen, where it's just like they've got this like sixth sense where they can just cook to the competition and cook really creatively and execute, which is, as we're seeing on this show, Tristan's just executing. César's just executing. Like, they're doing a great job, and they're both on your team. So I'm pretty upset about it. I just
wanted to point that out. I'm so happy you gave me that assist right there. I just wanted to point that out, that yes, both of these amazing chefs are on my team. As I was crafting this amazing team during our draft, you know what I mean? I was in the war room talking with my guys, really just putting pen to pad, trying to make it all happen. And Tristen and César, man. César was very impressive the first competition. I think Tristen was sort of getting his feel in, but now that he's gotten a couple of reps in, I mean, I think I've got the Nikola Jokic. I said this last week. I think I got the Tom Brady of the draft, man. Low pick, high reward. This guy is definitely, he's doing it for me time and time again. Man, yeah, that dish, the vichyssoise, the pickled mackerel. Oh, the pickled mackerel. One of the best ways that I actually enjoy mackerel. I'm not a big mackerel fan, but if you pickle it the right way, then I'm sold. I'll see that on the menu and I'm getting it. To pair that up with that beautiful leek soup and the vichyssoise and everything else, man, it just looked beautiful, stunning. He speaks so... It's concise with it too. So he also leaves a lot to the imagination, which I love. You know what I mean? Like sort of undersell, over deliver. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like here it is. Here it is, and then boom, and just let your mind just go free. It's all, he's got it, man. He's studied the game, and right now, I gotta say, again, on my team is doing just numbers right now. Kristen called it a streak, 3 in a row. I gotta say, he's clearly leading the pack. My man is killing it.
He would have 4 in a row. He would have had 4 in a row if he was on the team. If he was on the right team, we'll get to that. I've got some thoughts, but let's go from the top now that we've kind of. Look, we've praised your team. We get it. You've got, I think, twice as many chefs left in the competition as I do. You got Vinny, César, Henry, Tristen, Bailey, and Paula. And I'm still, I'm slumming it up right now. I got Shawai, Lana, and Massimo left. So you have like 6 chefs. I got 3. So literally you got like twice as many chefs as I do. And no disrespect to Lana, Massimo, and Shawai, but man, you are rolling right now. So the first quick fire is a Chipotle theme. So what was a cool tie-in was that they ordered Chipotle earlier in the week, and then they had to use the exact ingredients that they ordered unbeknownst to them. This, as Tristen said, is nothing sacred anymore.
Nothing sacred.
Eric, did that twist conjure up any memories in Top Chef of like when you were like, did they really they're playing chess and we're thinking we're playing checkers on this?
Easily. We had a garden in my season 16 right behind the house that we lived in, and they chummed it up to be like, hey, if you want to grab some seeds and sort of just get some zen time with you in the garden, go ahead and just plant stuff in. No, lo and behold, waiting until the last few weeks of the season, we had to cook all of the stuff that was in our garden. So if you didn't tend to the garden, if you didn't put anything in there, if you didn't go to your plot, then you literally are cooking with just dirt and water and whatever's in the pantry, and boom, there you have it. So luckily, some chefs took advantage more than others. Some chefs actually just thought of it as a zen moment and, just kind of get away from the competition for a little bit, just to garden. But yeah, they, something behind the back of my head was like, man, this is going to come back for us in some way, some fashion. Being from the Bronx, I don't garden as much, man. So I was like, you know what, let me just go back there, drop some potatoes, drop some carrots and tomatoes and whatever else that they had available, and some herbs. I remember Adrienne had a freaking bounty of produce in her garden, and she had the most to pick from. But yeah, I mean, it's Top Chef, man. You know that they're going to come full circle at some point, but not like this. This is like, every day we're ordering lunch. Chipotle, it's straight to the point, quick service, delicious food. That who would think that someone, a producer or a handler is on the side like, okay, Tristen got this and Bailey got this. And I'm like, come on. I said the same thing. There's nothing sacred. But you know what? Here we are. That you got to do what you got to do. And I thought it was actually a pretty cool twist to have their order, kind of spun back at them in a quick fire. It's funny. Now you're probably after the fact looking at everything that you eat with the watchful eye, thinking that it might come back to you. It's just a mind warp at this point.
Yeah, but no, warp is really one way to put it. Yeah, it's a mind F. Yeah, for sure. Dude, so César Lee he's the guest judge along with his son, Top Chef Masters. He's a chef owner of Lee Restaurant. He and his son, Jet's mom must be like 8 feet tall, because like he's like huge,
massive,
and his dad's like normal size, but like his son is towering over him, and I'm like, yeah, and he's got this deep baritone voice. And I'm like, they're like, this is a great father-son dynamic, and of course they have this like very popular social media feed where Jet, his son, will take like this very ordinary blue collar lowbrow food, and he tells his dad, can you make this gourmet? And so of course they do this with Chipotle, which is like, all right, we got these ingredients, whatever you ordered early in the week for lunch, you have to do a remix a la what we do on social media and spin it your own way. So this was interesting because Vinny, as he called himself a broke ass bitch, he's like, I now need to win this quick fire, but I'm dealing with chips and salsa or chips and guac or whatever it was. And so he's got nothing. Like he really is struggling here, and he finishes in the bottom. I don't blame him entirely. I don't know how much you can do with like chips and salsa. I mean, what do you think?
This is where I was kind of a little humming and hawing a little bit about the challenge itself. It's a creative challenge, but then you're picking a random day to get lunch for everyone. Not everybody's hungry at the same time. The depths of like hunger varies, right? So sometimes
Tristen had a double steak burrito.
Yes, Tristen had a double steak burrito, and then sometimes you just want to snack on like some chips and guac. Like, who's to say that that's supposed to be the actual like ingredients you're supposed to be using? I thought that was a little bit of you could have
but it's
given
a quick
Vinny.
fire, dude. It's a quick fire, so it's not an elimination challenge. You're not going to get sent home because
I hear you. I mean, there's money on the line, man. Shoot, some people like that's $5K just about like that. That's a valuable
it was 10K.
meal.
It was 10K.
Oh, 10K. Even worse, bro. That's a 10K Chipotle run. Like, I don't know if you ever had a Chipotle run worth $10,000. I haven't. So, I mean, give me all the ingredients. If I knew that was coming back around, I'm ordering every single thing on the menu, so I have every single thing to my disposal. But to Vinny's detriment, man, he just had, clearly wasn't hungry that day and just had chips and queso to work with.
Tough break for him.
Listener, listen up. This is important, okay? I'm going to try to save you some money here. If you're still overpaying for wireless, it's time to say yes to saying no. At Mint Mobile, their favorite word is no. You may think like, oh, that's bad. No contracts, no monthly bills, no overages, no hidden fees, no BS. Here's why I said yes to making the switch and getting premium wireless for $15 a month. You heard that correctly. $15 per month. Ditch overpriced wireless and the jaw-dropping monthly bills. And of course, there are all these hidden fees and stuff, but at Mint Mobile, plans start at $15 per month. All the plans come with high-speed data, unlimited talk and text. You're not doing like weekend and nighttime minutes or anything like that. And it's delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone. Don't have to get a new phone. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number along with all of your existing contacts. I switched months ago. People have asked, did you actually switch? Yes, I actually switched months ago, and I don't know what to do with all this extra money. I've cheated the system here. I've rigged something. This is an Ocean's 11 situation where I'm stealing wireless from Mint. That's how good a deal it is. Ready to say yes to saying no? Make the switch at mintmobile.com/dings. That's DINGS. That's mintmobile.com/dings. Upfront payment of $45 required, equivalent to $15 per month. Limited time new customer offer for first 3 months only. Speeds may slow above 35 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details.
Hello, listener. It's Producer Maze here to talk to you about Quince and their cookware. Cooler nights mean cozy meals at home, and Quince's cookware has made fall cooking so much more enjoyable. Their pieces deliver the quality and performance of luxury brands, but at a price that makes sense. And they look gorgeous on the stovetop, too. No matter what item you need to complete your kitchen, Quince has you covered. With 5-ply stainless steel pots and pans, nonstick skillets, chef-quality knives, and even ceramic bakeware, which is perfect for cozy casseroles or Sunday roasts. And when you look at these prices, you might think, how is Quince doing this? How do they deliver high-quality items similar to high-end brands that are half the price? Well, let me tell you, they partner directly with ethical top-tier factories to cut out the middlemen and pass the savings on to you. And it's not just cookware. I got myself some bath sheets. That's right. When you're a tall man, you have to use bath sheets, not bath towels from Quince. It's like drying off with a cloud. It's incredible. Upgrade your kitchen for cozy fall meals with premium cookware from Quince. Go to quince.com/dings for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/dings, DINGS, to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/dings. Hello, listener. It's Producer Maze here to talk to you about Kindred. Now, close your eyes like Owen Wilson during a job interview and imagine a way to travel that feels personal, comfortable, and connected without the price tags and the sterile feelings of hotels or short-term rentals. Now open your eyes and stop using your imagination because Kindred has made it very real. That's exactly what they do. Kindred is a members-only home swapping network. It's not a hotel. It's not a short-term rental. It's a smarter way to travel where each stay feels like home. Here's how it works. With Kindred, your home is your ticket. You earn credits by hosting fellow Kindred members, and then you use those credits to stay in over 220,000 homes in more than 100 cities worldwide. There are no hotel costs or rental fees, just the credits that you've earned. Every stay comes with white glove service, 24/7 trip support, and $100,000 in host protection. Make it easier for you to travel and enjoy yourself and not worry about details. I've used Kindred and I found an amazing home for a weekend getaway in an idyllic location with amazing views and great ambiance. It had everything I needed. And the best part was, it cost me $0. So apply now at livekindred.com and use code DINGS to join for free. Plus, you'll earn 5 nights of travel credit just for signing up. That's right. That's 5 whole nights for free at livekindred, KINDRED.com, code DINGS, DINGS, livekindred.com, code DINGS.
I say that Tristan's like running laps around the competition, but Cesar's right there with him because he does a Caesar salad with grilled romaine. I love a good grilled romaine. Do it in the summer a lot here in Charlotte. He had a roasted chipotle and juniper salsa with torched avocado. Sometimes I grill avocado and it gets really bitter. Do you know, Eric, is there a good way to do it, or is there something I'm doing wrong when you grill an avocado or torch it like that? Like any secrets that I need?
I go a little bit firmer, less ripe than the more softer, just the kind of the integrity in it. It holds its texture better. But then also high heat, go really high heat and sort of kiss the avocado for a few seconds rather than kind of just letting it sit. Because the more you do, the more sort of time that you have to mess with it. So a very quick, it's funny. It brings me back to the pickled mackerel. I had this dish, or used to work on this dish at Kingbird Restaurant in Washington, D.C., where we pickled mackerel, very similar to how Tristen did in the elimination round. But then also we served it with grilled avocado. So it's just really fatty, pickly, delicious sort of dish. But yeah, we did exactly that. We had a beautiful like Bickerton grill, super high heat, really, really just like high quality coal. You get a nice firm avocado. You keep the skin on to kind of keep it more intact. You grill it, peel it off, and then, slice it up the way you want to. Little salt. Yeah, delicious.
In a quick bind, like if you just slice up some avocado, throw a little bit of like a couple droplets of olive oil on there, and sprinkle some salt, like pretty good snack.
You went somewhere when you were talking about that. You were very like you closed your eyes and you were there. Literally. I was feeling it.
Oof, it's good. It's good. Hits the spot every time. So the Caesar salad, he hits it. Cesar salad.
The Cesar salad. There you go. Yeah.
It's and it's kind of a little foreshadow to the elimination challenge, where you think that it's a detriment that he has to work with this ingredient, and then he completely flips it on you, and he gets in the top 3. Tristen takes home the win with what was described as the most remixed dish, gets the triple threat, or the hat trick, we'll say, in hockey here. Now that we're in Canada, he's done a quickfire elimination challenge win, and with the immunity, he still gets the quickfire win. And I would argue in the elimination challenge, he was deserving of the win as well, if it weren't for the team setup. Cesar got that top 3, like I said, and Paula with this Serrano chili that she had, that was the big star in her dish. The bottom 3 here, we've got Vinny. I think we can all agree, like, he got a tough hand there, and he skunked. It looked like the cheese wasn't melted, was the feedback, but I kind of the beauty shot, or whatever you call it, the dish that we got to see. The beauty shot looked like it was melted, so maybe it was just his wasn't quite fully melted, and I feel like it might have gotten soggy. We've all been there with soggy chips. Not great. Henry, the filling on his quesadilla was pretty basic, is what Jet said. The rice shuai, we kind of saw that coming, as his rice wasn't cooking, the brown rice wasn't coming together. Any other thoughts here on the quickfire, or what you might have done differently if you were, part of this quickfire with the Chipotle? Are there any sort of hacks that you're like, oh, I can do a good remix on a Chipotle dish?
Yeah, my mind immediately went to, queso or some sort of, very similar to what I think what Vinny would have loved to do if he had more ingredients. But I got to say, Tristen, again, man, feeling inspired. An idea that, it's kind of like the obvious, man, it's hiding in plain sight. You know what I mean? The call to go to the West African with these ingredients. I love how quickly he thought about that. So when he said it, I was like, oh shit, yeah, I could have easily pulled that off as well. Really good call. But I thought it was hilarious when when Tristen was announced as the winner. They did a little cutaway to Massimo, and he kind of did his, he's clapping, but he's rolling his eyes as well. And that's typically, the target on your back. Yeah. Target on your back right now. What a jerk. Yeah. Can't be happy for my guy, Tristen. But it is what it is, man. Tristen, congrats. 10K. Not too bad for a quick fire and for a Chipotle meal, man. So now we head into the elimination round, and it's pickles, as Kristen was very clearly, trying to overstate. Man, I got to say, the wardrobe she's been pulling out each and every episode, 10 out of 10. She does it again with this really just lime green sort of ensemble to sort of invoke the vibe of pickling. And yeah, man, how do you feel about a pickle?
Well, I love pickles. I'll go to the gas station and get the pickles in a bag, right.
The ones where you're a criminal. You're a criminal. You need to calm down.
I am not. What? No. Dude, that thing is so good. That thing is, and it's sitting in that like soup of pickle juice. And when you're driving on a long road trip and it's probably not a good idea to do this while you're driving because you're going to spill everywhere. You got to hold the steering wheel. Probably not a good idea, but I just love the crunch. I think it's a five tool player. You got the crunch, you got the aroma, you've got the sweet, you got the sour, you've got the texture, you got the hard crust, but then like the really nice soft inside. I just think a good pickle hits all the right notes. Before we talk about this, I wanted your thoughts on this. So you talk about Kristen's outfits. There's wardrobe stylists on set, but for the judges, not necessarily for the contestants. And I think you want to, can you peel back the curtain a little bit? Like you can't have logos when you're choosing your outfits for the competition. So that's got to be stressful, right? Is like, oh man, like my whole wardrobe, if I've got like a little Nike sign, like I can't have it on the show. So can you break down real quick, like fashion on Top Chef, how it works?
Yeah, it's really fashion on television when it comes to the setting, the lighting, and all of that. So there's a couple of rules that apply for Top Chef and honestly every other show that you go on. It's sort of blanketed. So yeah, no logos, no large print. You can't do logos. You can't have a big like you said, Nike or any sort of branded logo in there. It's just free advertising that they don't want to pay for. No large prints, or small print rather, no small print. There's something that happens on TV called a moire. I learned about this a few years ago. If you were to have, like, let's say, what's that style? A herringbone, that pattern, or a really tight sort of like pattern on your shirt or pants. For whatever reason, it looks like you're floating in your shirt. Exactly. It looks very hazy. So no tight patterns. And what else? White, typically like stark white doesn't work well with television. So it's either like a cream or an off shell type of color, tan that works best. So then it puts you in a world where you got to go very bold, color, solid color,
Gap, where it's just like Old Neighbors, big bold colors, where you're able to
bold colors,
solids.
Exactly, 100%, and you kind of like blotch, or block coloring. So very similar. Exactly what we're talking about right now. Kristen had a beautiful sort of like light green, dark green, but then Danny Garcia comes in with the white and the blue, and it's just a very just kind of like two-toned color. Thing. And that's really the language of the wardrobe when it comes to television. You got to wear those really bold colors. And there it is, man. So I myself, hosting Wildcard and Alex vs. America, that's what the world I have to sort of be in.
So you have a stylist that works with you on those shows, but you have like Tom Colicchio, is he wearing his own clothes or is that all stylists?
I do not have a stylist. It's all
that is the highest compliment I could ever give you, Eric, is that I assume that you got a stylist because you look so good on TV, dude.
I appreciate that, sir. I appreciate that. No, I take the time and I just do it myself, man. I don't know if I want to let go of all of that. But I feel like Kristen, her style has always been very sharp and very tailored look as well. So she may or may not have a stylist. I wouldn't be surprised if she does it, because I think she just has a very keen eye for what looks good on her, and the clothes that kind of fits well with her body and all that. But Tom, he's very classic. He's blazer, button down. He's got the hat, the Kangoils. Oh man! Shout out to season 2 with the soul patch with Tom.
Yeah, the soul patch is classic. When you go back into the archives and you see
with the Kango.
Dude, when I was in high school, I might have had a soul patch for like a week or two.
Please.
I know, dude. I might have had like a very Tom Colicchio. Like, who was it? I keep forgetting that dude's name. Who was in like Stained or whatever, the bald look with the soul patch where it's just like, Tom, you can't. Gosh. I wasn't bald in high school, but I'm just thinking, not Smash Mouth Maze. But yeah, anyway, we got the elimination challenge, which is pickles. Yeah. So there's 5 rounds, 2 teams, 5 rounds. You got cornichons, round 1, round 2, sour pickles, dill, round 3, spicy pickles in round 4, and bread and butter pickles in round 5. They basically have to do schoolyard draft, where Tristen and Bailey are on separate teams because they won the last challenge. And what you're seeing is Tristen is right off the rip. He's going Katiana. Now, we've done this study before at Pack Your Knives. Drafts first pick is actually a burden. It's actually a disadvantage. Weirdly enough, for whatever reason, the team that drafts first in a draft, when it comes to these kind of team competitions, they disproportionately lose. And Tristen had the first pick, goes Katiana, then Bailey goes Lana. She goes Girl Squad plus Massimo and Vinny. So like Katiana first pick, Lana, then Tristen goes Shuai, Bailey goes Paula, Tristen goes César, Bailey goes Vinny, Tristen goes Henry, and then Massimo's the last one, and he gets chosen last, and he jokes, they probably didn't see me. So, do you have any theories, Eric, why you might not want to draft first in sort of these draft scenarios, or why you might see this kind of this tax on drafting first?
Man, I wish I knew. I wish there was some sort of a tell, or some rhyme or reason to why is it that when you pick first, your team disproportionately is at a disadvantage or goes home. I don't know if it's bravado. I think that's the thing that sort of comes back to me. It's not necessarily a statistic thing. I don't know if it's like I think it's just the idea of like, okay, I'm picking the best, and then maybe the bravado sort of just like leads you astray. You think you have the best people because you're picking first, but then, you kind of allow that air of confidence to maybe sabotage you in some sort of way, where you're not necessarily, trying as hard, or maybe there's a little bit too much, man, again, a basketball reference.
Like maybe you're not like talking or critiquing because you.
Yes.
You might be like, hey, I chose you, so like I think super highly of you.
I agree.
You might be to like offer feedback or have some sort of constructive like, hey, if you're on the bottom team, or if you're not getting first pick, you might be more willing to have those kind of tough discussions.
Legitimately, I think that's it. Sort of similar to, when a star player gets on another team with another star player, and it's sort of like, okay, I'll pass it to you. No, I'll pass it to you. I'll pass it to you. You're not objectively getting the job done while winning the game. You're more so sort of playing favoritism within within the team, and that's exactly what's happening here, where you're sort of trusting the laurels and sort of the I don't know, the streaking, or I don't know what it is, but you're trusting the caliber of the chef, at least in your head, more than you're actually, critiquing and fine tuning the team itself. And that could be a detriment to you, versus, like you mentioned, when you're sort of, the underdog, and you're coming in and you're like, you know what, you have that sort of like will to win. You want to outprove, you want to prove yourself. So you're critiquing every single thing. And I think that sort of, putting stuff up to the wall and really seeing if it sticks versus not, gives you more definition. It gives you more, outwardly sort of like, I don't know, approval from everybody else, right? And if something's not working, usually somebody's going to be there to mention it. So I think that's honestly what it is. Yeah.
We're getting here like the green team, which is Tristen, Katiana, Schwei, César, Henry. I mean, you put that team against any team in Top Chef history, those 5 chefs, they're gonna compete at a high level. It doesn't work out because of one mistake, in my opinion. Henry has his dish on the table after Katiana, and Schwei decides, I'm gonna clear off this station so that you can work, Henry. And he's like, dude, what? You just threw out my food, all my garnishes, all my prep work, all of that. My mise en place is gone.
Yikes.
He said he had to cry in a bathroom afterwards. He was so distraught over what went down. Eric, he held it together. I would have lost my mind if that happened.
Man, you know what? I gotta commend Henry so much. Great cooking all around this episode, but temperament and staying cool and level-headed, even in the face of defeat and elimination. It shows how you handle yourself. If I was back home at his home restaurant as one of his line cooks, I'd be proud to be like, that's my head chef. You know what I mean? Because you handled yourself as professionally as possible, and you let your emotions sort of like come out in a private moment. I think with a lot of people, 8 out of 10 people would have flipped the gasket, would have cursed, would have yelled, would have whatever. But one of the very first things I was told before I did my season of Top Chef is, regardless of what happens, you don't want to look like an asshole on TV. And I think Henry really composed himself as professionally as possible, and really didn't, as much as we all could have obviously, understood how and why he would have blown his,
gasket, blow his
gasket, at Schwei's direction. He didn't. And it's tough, man. I mean, two things. The dish objectively sounded amazing with all the components. And, when he mentioned the pickle jus, I wrote that down in my notes. I'm like, oh my God, this sounds delicious. But then there's a technical aspect of the dish that, again, we're talking about Tom Colicchio, the head chef of Kraft. You can't pull a technique over. You can't pull the wool over his eyes as far as technique is concerned. If you say something's braised and it's not, he's gonna let you know. And apparently the short rib itself wasn't braised enough. It wasn't tender enough. So that's one sort of strike against the dish. But then the mise en place, the pickling aspect, right? Like that in and of itself is all of the knife work and the cuts of the daikon and everything else that are going to bring that pickled sort of element to his dish. And that's thrown away. It's the whole thing.
That's the whole elimination challenge. So you can't, and there's 10 minutes left. Like there's only so much time. It's not like he can go back and start from scratch and like, hey, everybody on the team, everyone on the line, we got to do this mise en place. They only had 10 minutes. So Eric, he's like, I got some, I think it was leftover like daikon crumbs or something like that he had to throw on the plate. And one thing that's important here is that it didn't seem like he didn't blow him up on the judges' table. Like he could have been like, Schwei, I'm sorry, but I'm throwing you under the bus, and you ruined my whole Top Chef journey here. Could have been upended by your stupidity, throwing away. Like you got to say, hey, this is Katiana's, right? Is it hers? All right, cool.
Yeah,
and then throw it in the garbage. Yeah. But like that's a kitchen. I've never worked in a very intense kitchen like that. You have to take some liberties and make some judgment calls, and that one was the wrong one.
But Tom, 2 things can happen and exist at the same time with the same instance. Like, yes, Schwei should have double checked before he threw it away. But Henry, this is your dish, bro. Like, guard your shit. Like, I tell my chefs every single night, guard your station. Like, someone like, someone, it's like a backyard alley, fight, or excuse me, a back alley fight. Guard your station. Like, don't let anybody put anything on your station. If their servers are leaning on it or they're cleaning utensils on it, you got to let them know respectfully, hey, I need space to operate. You got to guard your space. And Henry didn't do that. And I feel like time and time again, as we've been watching this season sort of unfold, every single episode, every single week, there's something up with Henry and his time management, his mise en place, or just sort of putting things together at the last minute. It doesn't come together. And it's really starting to become, once or twice it's a mistake. 3 or 4 times it's now a habit. You know what I mean? And it's sort of like a personality spin to his kitchen. And I don't know if that's necessarily, he means well. Obviously, he doesn't want to be in his positions, but he keeps finding himself in these instances. So yeah, Schwei 100% should have made sure, as Katiana was done with her cook, hey, can we throw this away? But then Henry, bro, like, where are you? Guard your stuff.
There's in basketball, we say guard your yard, right? Like when you're playing defense against a guy, you got to guard your yard. And Henry did not guard his yard there. And as much as you want to say that's on Schwei, you're right. Is that I didn't quite think of it that way, is that there's a responsibility as a chef that you have to hold yourself and your station accountable and not let those things happen. But still, Schwei, he's on my team and he did that to your guy. Henry is on your team. And I was thinking Henry's going home. We're going to get to Katiana here in a sec, but I want to ask about Massimo, because Massimo, he had another faux pas in the kitchen, which is he left the pot, forgot to strain the potatoes, and he said, he had some, he had a very good disposition about this, and in very Massimo way, is that like, basically that's how you build a bomb. He made a mistake. So 2 questions. What was the mistake? Again, he forgot to strain the potatoes. So that was a bad thing if you do it on the kitchen. And secondly, have you had like a 5-alarm fire in your kitchen before? Or like, what are do you have any war stories about a fire breaking out in a kitchen?
No fires breaking out. No. I mean, just an absent-minded move. One, you can tell because it wasn't originally a part of his dish. He said that he wanted to add that in sort of last minute. So I don't know if he really fully thought about the ABCs of how to kind of execute that in its entirety. But everyone is kind of looking at like him in the kitchen when it happened, like, yo, who's this guy? Like, is this day one for you? Like, this is a rookie mistake, man. Like, you can't. Vinny was out there very boisterous as well. Like, turn the freaking fryer down. So he's building fries or some sort of fray for texture for his tartare dish, and it sounds to me like I don't know if you've ever fried something that has moisture around it and it can kind of pop at you, and you know what I mean. It's, plantains or a wet fry or something like that usually is the case for that. But I would imagine him taking and chopping a bunch of potatoes wet and then throwing them in. Oil and water don't mix, right? You have to dry those potatoes off before you go ahead and fry them. So you put a bunch of wet wet potatoes in a fryer. It looked like the fryer was maybe like 3/4 full. And then the potatoes kind of just is submerged in there. It sort of added more volume to the pot. So now you just got this like fireworks of mess that's happening. You're on the plancha, so it's adding more heat to it. It just looked like a situation that could have went bad really, really quickly. Hopefully, thankfully, cooler heads sort of prevailed. And, he put the fire out immediately. But honestly, if that was to happen, I'd probably tell the producers like, hey, we're not putting that in there, are we? We're not going to roll that, are we? And they did, man. Massimo, bro. Absent-minded stuff like that happens, but that on the national television level is pretty embarrassing, I got to say.
Yeah, Bailey said, I'm not mad at Massimo. I'm just disappointed, which is such a maternal thing to say. I'm like, oh, I heard my mom saying that to me back in freshman year in high school. There's a lot of that in that scene, but he comes out with, he kind of pulled a Vinny here where he did this like kind of gimmicky thing where he knew Le Express, Gail's favorite restaurant across the street from his restaurant in Montreal, has this steak tartare dish, and he did a cannoli. And it was mind-blowing. They loved it. He, interestingly, he didn't sweep his round of cornichons. He won 6-2.
Yeah.
Vinny got swept by Tristen, and Bailey got swept from César. But neither of those two, Tristen or César, win the episode. It goes to Massimo, who won 6-2 against Schwei for his cornichons because he was on the winning team. And this is where I kind of wish they had not just like head-to-head record, it was also point system. Because if it was a point system, then it would be a lot more interesting. We would have it to the final dish. I think maybe it wouldn't have, but then the green team wouldn't have two of the best dishes ever in Top Chef history on the bottom team. So like, you always run the risk whenever you do a team competition, a team challenge in Top Chef, that you're going to have the best dishes in the bottom, because it's all about the lower floor when it comes to the winners or the losing team. And Katiana had the lower floor, or just it didn't work out in the one-on-one matchups. But it was just weird to say Massimo won this challenge, when the two best dishes that Tom's ever had on Top Chef were on the same competition. So that's why Eric, in the scoring system, I gave Massimo plus 10 for winning the elimination challenge, but I gave Tristen and César plus 5 as if they were in the top 3, because I kind of felt like they had the two best dishes. I feel like we could have given them the nod, so they get plus 5. Tristen, we talked about already. One of the best things he's ever had. The other chef who won Top Chef Canada said it was unbelievable, Tristen's dish. César, I think it might have been Kristen or Tom, said this was my favorite dish of the day. Was the dill ice cream with the curd was cooked perfectly.
This episode is brought to you by 20th Century Studios' new film, Springsteen, Deliver Me From Nowhere, starring Golden Globe winner Jeremy Allen White and Academy Award nominee Jeremy Strong. Scott Cooper, the director of the Academy Award-winning movie Crazy Heart, brings you the story of the most pivotal chapter in the life of an icon. Springsteen, Deliver Me From Nowhere. Only in theaters October 24th. Get your tickets now.
For a limited time at McDonald's, get a Big Mac Extra Value Meal for $8. That means 2 all-beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun, and medium fries, and a drink. We may need to change that jingle.
Prices and participation may vary.
Talk to me about the bread and butter pickle dessert that he did, which was out of this world. I mean, the mustard seed tart, the dill ice cream, a fresh cucumber, all of that was a huge risk. Dude didn't have immunity. He decided to do a dessert with pickle.
It's vinegar, it's sugar. I think to his point, and to his sort of idea with going with the dessert, the bread and butter pickle tends to be slightly on the sweeter than pickly or sort of acidic side. So there's notes that you can kind of pull out from that. But I mean, regardless of the fact, he said he's never made that before. I've never heard of that before. A brilliant and very edgy thing. But then, man, that's how you get greatness, bro. You don't get, you know what I mean? You don't get to be the greatest by making the same dish over and over and over again. You get to be the greatest by doing something avant-garde and completely off the cuff. I mean, these chefs, the judges rather, have had food for 22 plus seasons, and they've probably eaten it all. So to surprise their palates and their minds like that, like, go for it. Wow. And, I got to commend César, man. Like, I thought that was a brilliant play. The dish looks stunning. Just the notes of pickling and the dill for the base and the cream. I'm like, bro, keep going. Yeah. Yes. Like, it's just crazy enough that it'll work, and so glad that it did, and this is where technique comes in, because you can have an idea that's very flavor forward and very sort of whimsical, but you got to execute technique wise. The ice cream needs to be creamy. The tart needs to be crumbly. Like, all of those things need to exist at the same time. And it seems like he hit all those notes and really excelled in a dish that, again, I will never, ever probably have, but super excited to try it if ever it came out.
He needs to put it on a menu, man, because that is so surprising. I remember the first time I had olive oil ice cream when I was it's like 23, and I had it. I was like, I don't know why I would ever want that. And then you have it, and you're like, oh, I get it. Like, it's rich. I get it. Like, yeah. Like, it's one of these things that I never would have said. And the fact that he's never made this dish and he still knocked it out of the park. Second thing I want to note here is on the Tristen side, he hates pickles. And produce that dish? What? Vinny called it. He's like, dude, he hated the figgy duff or whatever that was, that Canadian dessert, and then won that episode. And he's like, dude, he's going to win it again. And he was right. Tristen delivered on a huge level with that dish. Again, he won his round, but was not on the winning team. Katiana goes home in a huge upset, just whiffed on the porridge. It curdled. It made no sense. The judges could not figure out why she would add that to the dish. Danny was like, dude, if you just gotten rid of the porridge, like that's a good dish. But it really was the downfall of the dish was the porridge. So I didn't see her at the judges table. I was like, oh no, she's all right. It didn't score well, but I think she's going to be okay. She got sent home, Eric. So that was not a good dish.
It was not a good dish, and it was doubled down by the fact that Tom said that should have probably been the dish or the component that was thrown away. So it hurt on both Henry's side and Katiana's side, I would imagine, to hear that. Oh, that was just a knife in the heart. Tom had a lot of zingers in this one-liners in this episode, man. Yeah, I got to be honest. Just from at least the description and the build of the dish, I wasn't really picking up what Katiana was dropping. 3/4 of it sounded really good. And then the texture of the seeds and the cucumber and everything else, just in tofu, I don't know.
Didn't work.
It didn't work. It just didn't work.
Cucumber seed porridge. The duality of pickles was what she was going for. A fresh pickle dressed in pickle with clam vinaigrette. She added tofu at the last minute because she likes the crumble, the texture. They weren't buying it. And like, we're getting down to it, right? There's 9 chefs. She was eliminated. So like the bar is a lot higher, but we just had a study done by Carly Levitz, who's doing amazing work over at the Substack. She did a study that found there's kind of this weird thing that happens. Like you're 4 or 5 episodes in, the favorite 4 or 5 episodes with the most points, doing the most Katiana of their season, have very early exits. And we're seeing this kind of, there are these chefs that have come out to a hot start 6 episodes in and then go home. And that's exactly what happened with Katiana. Is I would have said she was the favorite to win this whole thing. And she's right up there with Tristen, and she got eliminated. And now it's like,
I don't know if you would have said it. I think you actually said it by picking her first. So I think your vote counted for you, and that's exactly who you decided to go first with.
It's right. Touche. I thought she was the favorite because I took her number 1 overall.
Yeah. So the proof is that it's all recorded. No, man, you're right, man. It's Top Chef, man. It's not. I mean, with that said, as great as Tristen and everybody else, like he can go home next week too. That's just the roll of the dice, man. Like it could really just
because he's got immunity, right?
I did that. I set you up.
Yeah, he's got immunity, which is crazy. Like he's got his last immunity. The next winner, I think, has the last immunity of the season. So Tristen, the fact that he's doing this with immunity, bro, is in past Top Chefs, you only get immunity for quickfire wins, and you're immune for elimination challenge. This dude is winning these rounds, and I know he didn't technically win this elimination challenge, but like he's still killing it, dude. Like killing it.
Oh man, I'm just so proud. Again, I'm like, just that proud GM that's looking at their draft pick walking across the stage, hugging their mom, hugging their dad, making that, that walk across the stage, shaking Adam Silver's hand. And I'm just, shedding a tear in the corner of the war room. I'm so proud to have Tristen on my team. So proud to have César. Such a robust team with 9 chefs left. I feel like I have the lion's share of them. What's the score? I wasn't keeping score, but if you can help me out.
Apparently someone's telling me it's 89-65. You got plus 21 this week. I got plus 7. Now Maze in the chat has been blowing me up, being like, dude, what is going on? The last 2 rounds, the last 2 weeks, you've got 50 and I've got 6. So you're pulling away. Tristen is mowing my people down. You've even got Bailey back into the competition. I gave her 2 points this week because even though she was on the winning team, I just kind of felt like she was in the middle along with Lana and Vinny. Vinny's kind of, he's scuffling a little bit, and his energy is catching up to him, I think. So
I agree. It's another gimmicky play with trying to impress Danny Garcia, doing a dish that's so I want to see to Sarah Bradley's point last week. I want to see Vinny on the plate, and I don't want to see renditions of his favorite chefs or these sort of like hallmark moments in his life. Because you're not really expressing yourself. I think everyone thus far in the competition has really put themselves on a plate somehow, some way, except for Vinny. And he's
just copying and pasting. He's Command C, Command Z. Like he is just. And Danny was like, "Yeah, this is pretty much the same dish, but like that's not what we're here for." And
it's not what we're here for.
I was cringing, bro, when I saw him be like, and this is the first dish I ever was in charge of at the Nomad. And I'm like, dude, Danny's probably rolling his eyes too. Like, he's probably like, I know, I get it. Like, we worked together and we did a Bocuse d'Or, whatever competition together. There was a photo of that. But it puts Danny in a weird spot because then the judge is going to be looking at him being like, oh, you're going to take it easy on this kid. Yeah. And no. Like he's like, yeah, this is a pretty much to a T. That dish that he made needed a little bit more seasoning, I think he said, but enough
Vinny
with the Nomad, bro. Enough. Yeah.
Vinny needs more seasoning himself. Like he's just like this dude is bland right now. The delivery, it just needs to. I need to see Vinny, man, and if not. There's not much. There's no many hiding spaces. Not a lot of hiding spaces that you can have this far into competition. If you're not cooking food like César and Massimo and Tristen again, Lana, like you're gonna go home soon, man. At this point, So Vinny, just wake up,
dude. Vinny has 8 points for you. He had 10 in the opening episode. So after we drafted, you didn't get the 10 points that he scored in the first episode. So he literally has fewer points in 5 episodes than he did in the first episode. So that's kind of what we're talking about here in terms of like he's coasting right now. He's just playing the hits back at the Nomad. And I really suggest, and I hope we see it, that he kind of pulls like a little bit of his own identity out and just says like, you know what, I'm gonna do something that isn't just like tailor-made from a recipe I did over at the Nomad. So César is in second place in our point system on the season. First is Tristen by a mile. He's got 37 points. César's got 23. You got Katiana, who got sent home. We're gonna do Last Chance Kitchen with her in Last Chance Kitchen next week, but I will recap in a second here about Last Chance Kitchen this week, where, spoiler alert, Corwin goes home, Kat wins it, so she moves on. But before we go, I want to ask you, so you were in Charlotte, you had a big demonstration, you were like the headliner culinary celebrity chef, and you did an event with my friend Kristen Weil, the Charlotte Streets Festival. It was something I couldn't go to because I had to work. I had the Lakers Blazers game that day, which broke my heart that I couldn't hang out with you on Sunday. But dude, how was it? Charlotte, you feel like Charlotte's arrived?
Charlotte has arrived. You weren't there, man. It broke my heart in pieces, man. I was really looking forward to hanging out, but duty calls. I totally get it. But shout out to Kristen, shout out to Johnson Wells, shout out to Charlotte Streets and the whole festival. I had a fantastic time. The festival itself was so cool, seeing all these people come out. Both alumni and students and people in the area coming to the demo, and there was a competition. It was just good vibes, and get to meet a lot of people, sign books, and then I went on a tour, man, of downtown Charlotte, and man, no better person to hook it up. I went to Supperland and some other restaurants as well. Fantastic eats, the hospitality, man. In addition to the food, like the food is fantastic, objective. Period. The hospitality is something else, man. They were so just warm and welcoming. and really excited to have someone out of town come in and really give Charlotte a look, man. And I got to say, bro, like, I don't know where Michelin is. I'm not sure where James Beard is, but you got to stop by Charlotte, man, and really get like a full download of the food and the scene that's going on right there. There's some fantastic chefs doing some really incredible work. And again, man, I got to see friends, family.
What did you cook for the people?
So I did the hamachi dish that's at Elmina. Passion fruit peri peri dressing, serrano, corn nuts, a little shaved radish in there, a bunch of textures, man, and people, really love the demo and sort of the explanation behind the story of the dish. Very similar to how I would do so in Top Chef, man. Kind of just break it down and give a little bit of like a romance to it. And man, Kristen, I can't speak her name high enough, and she was just so just welcoming and warming, and took care of everything. The hospitality was fantastic. Bro, you're like the mayor, man. I texted you this the other day, man. Like, your name came up 5 times at least in conversation, man. It was so cool to have people like, shout you out and listen to the podcast as well, and loving the work that you're doing, man. So you're clearly leaving your mark there in Charlotte, and man, I love it. I would
very
definitely
underrated,
come back.
Very underrated food town. It's come a long way too. Like when I got there like 7 years ago, it's come a long way. And James Beard, I mean, there's James Beard nominated chefs in town. We've got Michelin Guide is now coming to the South, which means that we are now, Charlotte, are gonna be up for reviews and all that. I'm going to learn more about this as I get back into town. I'm on the road right now, but this is a big deal. Like that Charlotte is now going to be potentially getting Michelin stars or recognition from the Michelin Guide. So it's arriving. And I would say it's here, and I'm so glad you got to see it. And I'm so bummed we couldn't catch up, but we're doing this right now, and we're going to hang out at some point. And Eric, you got to see a childhood friend in Charlotte, that was a really cool little anecdote. That, I mean, this is the sort of stuff that is that at the end of the day, like all the people you got to see or all the experiences, like that one's going to stay with you for a very long time.
It will. And apparently that was the sort of hallmark pull with Charlotte, man. You always find someone that or somehow connected to. I was doing a quick tour at Supperland Restaurant, beautiful space. And I went downstairs to the private room as, I'm kind of getting the tour. And I recognize, a friend, a brother of mine, man, I consider that I haven't seen in some time. But I recognize his hair. It's very iconic, big afro, a lot of gray hair kind of popping out. And I'm like, dude, I know this guy. He turns around. I'm like, Kofi. He's like, Eric, what are you doing here? And it was just a cool scene. His family was there. They were celebrating their mother's 60th birthday. The kids and the wives and the husbands, everyone was there. It was just a really cool moment that I did not expect. And I grew up with this family. My mom, sort of a second generation friendship. My mom and their mom was, friends, and, growing up with each other, and haven't seen them in a few years. And it's wild because when I walked in, they literally said Elmina. They were talking about Elmina, my restaurant. At the same, I'm like staring, like the craziest timing. Did not expect that. They were like, did you know we were here? I was like, I had no idea. So it was such a cool moment, man, and a very emotional one to see, friends and loved ones, family friends. So that was the cherry on top of the entire experience, man. So Charlotte, shout out to you guys, man. Love you guys.
Dude, it's so funny. Like I was talking to Tristen a couple months ago, and she's like, I think I got Eric Adjepong for a Streets Festival. And nice. I hit you up, and you were like, oh, I think I am. And I was like, dude, that's my city. And you're like, oh, yeah, my bad. And I was like, yeah, dude. And then, of course, like it lines up that the date you're doing it is the date, the last game of the regular season. So I had to work. Yeah. And the Blazers won. They beat the Lakers. So we'll see if we'll see in this postseason. It's gonna be a lot of fun. The NBA playoffs are right here. We're in the play-in tournament right now. Your Knicks, we'll talk about. We'll have something to talk about when the Knicks get going against the Pistons. Your first impressions right now before things get the ball goes up. You're feeling good about this series against the Pistons?
I'm feeling good about the series. Pistons are very gritty. Cade Cunningham is a fantastic player. could potentially be the best player, this series. But I think Kat and Jalen Brunson have something to say about it. I'm rooting for my boys, man. I think this is over in 5 or 6. 6
No, you got to
shows
stick
some
one.
respect.
It's either 5 or 6. Which one are you going to go with?
All right, this game is over in 5. It's done in 5. Yeah, it's done in 5. It's not going further. It's over in 5. And I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully, this is sort of the pull that the Knicks need to kind of get themselves ready for the next round. We haven't done so well with some of the top tier competition this year, but I think after a really gritty first round, we'll be ready to really get after it. And yeah, I'm ready, man. Ready for the Knicks to take over.
So if you want to catch up with what Eric did at Charlotte Streets Festival, it's a play on Eats, because Charlotte Eats is one of these local community, food promotions, and there's that Kristen helps run. So go check out the CLT Streets Festival on Instagram to see not just your cooking, but also the competition that was here in Charlotte. It was great. And if you haven't come through Charlotte yet before, and it might have been 20 years ago, it is not a banking town anymore. It is not an old crusty white banking town anymore. Go check it out. It's great. And Supperland is a great spot. It's right around my neck of the woods. So we go there time to time. The brunch is, as much as Eric, we've talked about brunch here, and we know Tom Colicchio does not like brunch, but they have an outstanding brunch over there at Supperland. A beautiful space. Eric, great episode. My team is decimated, but I'm counting on you, Lana. I'm counting on you, Shuai and Massimo. Yeah. You're my last strands of hope. Please pull it together for Team Tom. I don't even know if I could offer you all three of my contestants, and you would not give up César or Tristen if I offered all three.
No, man, you got to pull a little bit more than that, man. I saw
next year's draft. Oh,
next year's draft, something, man. You got to give me a little bit more. No, dude, I'm excited, man. My team is flourishing right now. Shout out to everyone who's still, kicking and providing just so many points for my squad. I gotta be honest, man. I love seeing this sort of lopsidedness. I went in with this very strategic, going to, picking the 2 and giving you the first pick. Cassiana was very promising, but now that she's out, it's green pastures for me, man. So hopefully if we ride steady, we got this.
Yeah. Eric, appreciate you this week and every week. You're riding high right now. We're not at Restaurant Wars, but we're coming up close. There's 9 chefs left. We've got a Niagara Falls and a pizza elimination challenge coming up here. So very curious to see how that goes. Anything you want to plug before we go?
No, man. Just, Elmina's doing great. Got Into the World is out there. Let's go Knicks.
Let's go Knicks. First and foremost. All right, Eric, we'll talk next week.
Yes, sir. We'll talk.
Kat and Corwin are in Last Chance Kitchen, which is brutal for me to watch because they're both on Team Haberstroh. And the other thing that is brutal is that one of them has to go home. Not only do I have to watch them in Last Chance Kitchen, but only one of them will survive and move and advance. And it turns out that it's going to be Kat moving on to go face Katiana, which if you haven't listened to it already, the packyourknives.com Substack, we have an interview, a bonus episode with Kat Turner, and she says that Katiana is named Kat, like she goes by Kat, but they had to switch the names up on the show to keep it from people getting confused, and so she goes by Katiana on the show, but in real life it's Kat, and she's going to be facing Kat, and they're going to go off in Last Chance Kitchen in an upset because Kat Turner has not really cooked with salt cod before and saltfish. And Corwin, that's like his bread and butter. That's his like go-to protein when he's in the kitchen. And so Corwin going against Kat loses when the competition, the challenge from Tom Colicchio is they have 30 minutes to cook. First 10 minutes, he's going to keep the ingredient secret, the protein secret. They got to prep food. Kat decides to do a salad prep, which she believes is a very versatile and very accommodating base for whatever protein's going to come. Thought it was a very courageous move from her. Whereas on the other side, Corwin decides to do a green curry, like a coconut curry, forgets that he can't open up the can after the 10 minutes. So that kind of puts him in a little bit of a bind. But he cooks the saltfish. It looks pretty good. But Tom Colicchio decides, actually, Kat, you had the better dish. The textures, the layers, all the different elements of the dish, it hit better than Corwin's, which I did not see coming. Not because Kat doesn't deserve it, but because Corwin, that's his protein. It's like LeBron picking up a basketball and saying, let's go play one-on-one. You're like, no, I don't want to play one-on-one. But Kat decides, I'm going to go play LeBron one-on-one, and I'm going to beat him. And that's what she does with Corwin. Takes down Corwin. Corwin goes home. And I'm stunned. So very good job by Kat. I thought that with the saltfish, he would have that. But Kat comes in and proves that she is here. And she is ready to win this thing, get back into the competition. Next week, going to come against one of her Los Angeles head-to-head, Los Angeles Kat versus Katiana. And pretty soon, going back into the competition. I don't know exactly when they are, but congrats to Kat Turner, friend of mine now. She's been on the program. Lives to see another day in Last Chance Kitchen going against Katiana next week. And we'll be back right here for next week's Last Chance Kitchen breakdown.